How is everybody doing? In this video I'm going to show you my Telecasters and tell you a little bit about each one. So let's go right now. In no particular order. First one we're going to look at is this 72 Custom. This is a beauty. It's an 09 Fender Classic Series. I really enjoy this guitar. The finish is absolutely beautiful. It's got a nice hole from the bridge pickup, and then you've got the wide range humbucker. But this isn't, the originals. This is a reproduction of those original wide ranges, which were supposed to be superb. This one has 7.25 spaghetti frets. There's your switch, and you got controls there. It's quite a versatile instrument. Yeah, I really like this one. It's a beauty, and I bought this used from a friend. I'd say late 2017, but yeah, I've never regretted buying this one. It's a beauty, and it's a keeper. So next up is a Fender standard Telecaster. This is from 2001. I picked this up August 2020. Saw it hanging in a shop, used, and I got it pretty cheaply. Guitar looks like it was never played. Somebody had it and never used it. I thought it was sage green, but it's actually not. I've been corrected, and it's agave blue or something like that. Looks green to me. Yeah, but the Max guitars are great from this era. I like them. The frets as well are kind of medium. They're not the huge frets that went on after 2006. It's also got a 6 saddle bridge and the more modern plate. Again, I don't mind. It's still a nice instrument. These are actually Alnico. I thought they were using ceramics back then. They're okay. You can get better, but again, it's all original. I haven't touched it. 6 cast metal chrome plated saddles. Like I said, I'm not fussed with bridges on tellies. I prefer the 3 saddle bridge, obviously, is my favorite, but I absolutely hate the 6 mini barrel saddles. I had one with that before, with the big long springs. They're desperate. Yeah, I absolutely hate them, and I actually don't like bent steel on tellies either. Yeah, but this is a nice example of a 2001. Okay, now this is something different. This is a Cabronita Mexican 2013. These were only made for a while, then they disappeared off the radar. It's an unusual telly, but it's a great one. It's very heavy. It's got a nice set of Fidelitron pickups, so you can kind of get that taste of a Gretsch there. There is no tone control, but you can back off the master volume. I like this guitar. It's unusual. There is custom shop models as well, and I love the simplicity of it. It came with 6 bent steel saddles, which are absolutely horrible on a telly. I don't know why they do that. I had a spare set of block saddles hanging around the place, and I used them, and it just looks nicer. It's neater now. It's a great guitar. It sounds fantastic. Also has 22 frets with the overhang. It's kind of unusual for a Mexican to have that neck. But yeah, it's a beautiful guitar. Frets aren't, they're jumbos, but they're not colossal like the later Highway Ones and the Performers. This is a cheeky looking thing. I think Cabronita is Mexican or Spanish for little bastard, and yeah, this is certainly a little monster anyway. Yeah, it's a beauty. A keeper. Next up is a Fender Highway One. This is a 2005, all original too. I bought this in late 2018. I got this for a very, very low price. These are made in USA. It's a beauty. Absolutely beautiful. It's translucent. Translucent crimson. Steel saddles here. Absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful rosewood fingerboard as well on it. Yeah, it's exactly the way it came. The early Highway Ones, they used to call them the Crayola guitars because the paintwork, the nitro, I think this is acrylic or something, flakes off very easily. But this one is in exceptional condition, and it's definitely a keeper, a beauty. Next is Mexican Standard from 2007. Nothing special about this, I just saw it on a advertising site a few years ago and I just decided that I wanted to have it. Yeah, it's just your standard Mexican telly. Just like the colour of it, but I did change out the pickups. Artec, I think I got that on eBay, and this is another Artec. I just love these with the oversized slugs. It's nice. It sounds quite different, you know, bassy but bright. Again, it's got the modern bridge and the modern saddles, but you know, it's great for knocking around. I didn't pay that much for it. Mexican Standard, getting harder to find though, very cheaply. You know, they used to be very cheap. But what I would like to do with a guitar like this, because they're pretty common, is stick in EMG active pickups with it, maybe in white. You know, because you can get the EMG telly pickup is that size, it's just covered in, you know, black or white. But I think it would be quite cool. You could put the battery in here somewhere. I'd like to do that, yeah. Just to have a guitar with to have a telly with EMGs inside it. Other than that, nothing to write home about. It's pretty run of the mill. Next up, this is another Highway One. I kind of went through a phase 2 years ago. This was kind of an impulse buy from a place in London. This is 2007. Yeah, it's all original, except I reckon that the scratch plate would have been white, and it definitely didn't come with compensated saddles. I'd say they would have been the chrome plated steel. It's also got the 70s headstock logo. And one thing that I really don't like about it, it's got ginormous frets. To me, they look like super jumbos, and there's no wear on them. They're just colossal. It's obviously 9.5 radius neck, but yeah, I've never really bonded with this guitar, and I'm kind of tempted to sell it. Sorry, I'm tempted to sell it and buy an American vintage Strat. Yeah, I'm tempted to sell this because I don't use it. I've never really used it. It's quite light as well. It's the lightest Telecaster I've ever had. Nothing wrong with it. Fine instrument. It's a Highway One, made in USA. Next up is a Fender Ventira in beautiful Fiesta Red. These came out in 2019, and when I knew they were coming, I had to order one immediately. Yeah, this is a fine vintage reissue. The Ventura range replaced the classic series. 7.25 radius, thick necks, and spaghetti frets. Yeah, this is a beauty. Sounds fantastic. All original. Nice big round, thick brass saddles, dome cap knobs. Yeah, I love this guitar. It's definitely a keeper. Bought new out of the box. So yeah, she's a gorgeous old thing. Next up is a new addition to the family. I wanted one of these for a while. This is a classic series, Esquire, and this is from 2005. These are long gone and quite hard to get now. This is a kind of natural blonde colour. I think the body is ash. Looking at the grain, you can see through. To me, it looks kind of like a custard colour, but every time I photograph it, it comes out kind of a mushroom colour. But yeah, this is a beauty. Tracked one down last weekend and bought it and had it shipped to the house. It only came a few days ago. These are great. Thick neck, spaghetti frets, 7.25, one pickup. Yeah, it's a monster. Now the thing is, it's all original except the pickup. Whoever owned it put a Seymour Duncan rail humbucker in there. Now I'm going to put a Fender Vintage in there, but it sounds so good with the humbucker. I just don't want to take it out yet because I'm going to miss it. Then again, I could make another one and put the rail into it, couldn't I? But this is a beauty, an absolute cracker. It almost plays itself. It's fantastic. The thing about Esquires is that as rhythm guitars, because you've got no neck pickup, it just bounces. It's just different, you know. It's just different. Don't ask me. It's just full of life. This one particularly is full of life. A gorgeous guitar. I think it's Mary Kay. I think they call that colour. After the woman that used to advertise them for Fender. But it's definitely a keeper. Absolutely beautiful guitar. Next up is a Squire Classic Vibe Fender Special Run 50s Esquire. These came out a couple of years ago, and they're quite cheap, brand new. But you know, I kind of for a couple of years there, I swore I wouldn't buy any Squires. Not because there's nothing wrong with them, you know, they're fantastic guitars, and if you do any kind of modifications on them, you can even improve them. But the problem is, my OCD, I could end up with a house full of them. So I tried to not have Squires in my collection, because I have a Japanese Squire and I have a Korean Squire, but and I had two other Squires as well. I had a CV Strat a couple of years ago. I sold that on. But this is crazy. It's a great guitar, and the reason being is that number one, I bought it from a friend, and he was after modifying it, and he gave it to me really cheap. There's 3 brass saddles on it here. There's also a mod, and there's a nice caps inside here. He did a good job on it. Yeah, it's a monster, and like I said, the necks are 9.5, but they've got tall vintage frets, so there's plenty to get a grip on there. I've got 3 brass saddles that I put on it. They're slightly smaller than the norm, but they look great. You know, like I said, these are Squires. You can do what you like with them. They're exceptional value for money. It's almost like a Gibson when it's out here in the 3rd position. It honks. It's got this kind of, you know, that kind of Gibson bite. Yeah, it's a cool guitar. Like I said, Squires, they're bringing out some great stuff at the moment, and because they're so cheap, it's very, very tempting. You know, for €400, you're getting a great guitar. And I got more of a bargain with this actually, because yeah, this was very, very cheap. The colour as well is absolutely fantastic. Vintage white, but it kind of looks like buttercream as well. Absolutely beautiful. The mod is an Arlo mod, by the way. Sorry, thought I should mention that. So it sounds fantastic. Next up is a new edition as well. Squire Fender Special Run. It's a 60s custom Esquire. I got wind of these about a month ago and I ordered one immediately. It's in Lake Placid blue and it has a double bound body, and it just looks absolutely amazing. Yeah, so much for my abstinence from Squires. NATO body, or NATO, whatever you call it. That's the wood. It's got a laurel fingerboard. When it comes out of the packet, out of the box, the fingerboard is very dry. It almost has a pale look to it. So I put on some Danish oil and I left it there overnight and buffed it up. And then I put 10s on it because the strings that come with them, the 9s, I don't like them. They're very, there's no feel to them. But again, you know, it's got the 3 saddle bridge, and these saddles are thick steel saddles, or whatever they are, metal. Yeah, they're thicker than the normals. I've never seen them this size, but I think they did come out back in the 60s. It's got the flat top knobs, which I prefer in a Telecaster. I love them. You know, it's not an oak, but it's a Korean version of it, and it's got Korean pots as well, but they're full size. And to be honest with you, there's no need to change anything inside there. I mean, you could put vintage wires in there, and you could put a bigger capacitor, but I don't think it'll make any difference. This is perfect as it is. They're lovely guitars, and I think there's a normal 60s custom coming out in candy apple green. That just has the neck pickup as well, and it is absolutely stunning. So you know, I'm really tempted to get one of those too. Is there a routing underneath this? No, there isn't. There is on the Mexican, but not on these. So you can't put another pickup in there unless you want to go drilling, and that would be terrible. So yeah, it's a beauty, absolute beauty. And finally, say hello to the Brute. This is one I made. I picked up this ash body online, and it is very heavy. It's ferociously heavy. I have an old Schecter neck hanging around that I had on a guitar back in the 90s, and I just put this together. But I bought the hardware and the electrics. Here you can see I bought all this. I had a Seymour Duncan quarter pounder hanging around the place, and I bought this Wilkinson bridge with 3 compensated saddles, brass, and then there's the circuit in there is I think it's an Arlo mod or an L-Rod. I can't remember now which. L-Rod, I think. And it's got 3 massive paper oil capacitors in there. They're Russian, and yeah, they're fantastic. It sounds fantastic. There's quite a whack off it. The strings on this are actually 11s. I put heavy strings on it, and it's a killer. There is actually face markers on the neck, but I actually coloured them in to make it look like there was none. Kind of go for a Schecter vibe, you know. So yeah. So that's it really. That's all there is to say. That's my Telecaster collection. I can't believe that I own 11 Telecasters. It's insane. You know, I didn't own a Telecaster until 2013, I think. I bought one, a Mexican Telecaster. I sold it down the track because it didn't have a string through body, and I just didn't want to have I wanted a Telecaster with string through, because that's, to me, that's what it's all about. You know, yeah, string through is the way to go. Now the Squire bridges, and even this one, you can do top loader if you want. Some, you know, you have a preference. It's probably better to have the bridge to do too, because at least then, yeah. Sometimes the top load is a bit slink here. But the angle changes, you see. But other than that, I don't know. So that's it. That's my Telecaster collection. I've way more than I need. Telecasters are just so cool. They're probably, I mean, I like Strats. Strats look incredible. But I find with a Strat you have 5 positions to select on the switch, and you know, you're kind of, as you're playing, you're kind of flicking up, flicking. There's a lot of flicking going on. But with a Telecaster, you're kind of neither playing in the neck or the bridge, and I find myself playing in the neck a lot of the times with Tellies now. But and the Esquire is insane altogether, because that only has 1 pickup, but you still have 3 positions, and you get so much out of it, you know. So yeah, I would say to somebody, if you don't have an Esquire, try one, you know, check one out. Unfortunately, at the moment, there's none being made in Mexico, but that could change. Vintera might bring some out. Other than that, you're going to have to go custom shop, or you're going to have to go Fender anniversary, whatever. And that's it, really. That's my Tele collection. Thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe. Take care.